Welcome back to the channel. Today we are covering how we make an extra $165,000 a month in brand new revenue using a low ticket funnel. So this is a case study. This is happening right now. This is in 2025. If you don't know me already, my name is Leo Moore. It's pretty much all I do is run ads and make money through funnels. So we're going to get straight into it. I know what you're here for. Here is the proof from Hyros. We had some revenue that was tracked via WAP on payment plans. That is not going to show up here. As you can see, it's not all sunshine and rainbows. There are some campaigns that flop. There are some things that we do drastically wrong on a daily basis. And the point of this video is for you to basically not make those same mistakes that we've already gone out and done. So yeah, just going to dive straight into it. Disclaimer here, this revenue required about $70,000 in ad spend, delivering about a 2.3x ROAS in a 30-day window. The reason that I say a 30-day window is because with a low ticket funnel, basically what you're trying to do is drive a shit ton of leads into the business at above a 1x ROAS. And then what you can do is over time is you're hoping to convert some of those leads as basically a mechanism to drive buyers into the business rather than just your regular old cold leads. And pretty much just for a bit of context here as well, we helped this client launch from zero in around October. Now they do just under 700K a month, looking to scale to 1 mil a month. And again, the entire idea here is with a low ticket funnel, rather than just driving a bunch of leads in, rather than just pushing in a bunch of calls, what you're trying to do is get buyers, people that have purchased, people that have spent money to solve the problem that you're talking about, rather than, again, just the regular old freezing cold leads. Then the idea is that over time, those leads who have already bought from you will tend to buy again at a pretty big rate. So really the goal here is that you want a 0.5 to a 1x ROAS on that initial first purchase. And then obviously you can do whatever you want after that, and it's all going to depend on your ability to ascend. So let me get my head out of the way here, just so you can get a bit of a look of the funnel. So pretty much what you want to do is you want to have a super specific ad for the ideal customer. You want to have some sort of mini course, some sort of set of templates, some sort of valuable thing, as you know, and we'll talk about that in a second. And then basically pushing them to the thank you page where you're going to call out the audience again, disqualify people that are not in the ICP, and position the offer for people who are committed to the initial result. Again, that is the initial result. So straight off the bat here, the funnel is very simple. It's ad, landing page, confirmation page. We're not doing any upsells, not doing any order bumps. And the reason for that is just because we're optimizing to go straight for a call. We've been able to see insane booker call rates from the purchases up to like 30% on a given day. So meaning 30% of the people that purchase the thing end up booking that initial demo. And a big part of that is because what we do is rather than giving them crazy order bumps or anything like that, we just push them directly to that confirmation page, which offers them a call. Now, again, that is for the initial result. So we're not saying you've bought this thing and now we're signing you up for something that's completely different. It's literally the exact same product. The ascension is saying, hey, if you're really committed to that result, what you've just purchased is X, Y, and Z. What that's going to help you do is A, B, and C. But the problem you're going to have is this, which means that if you are committed to the initial result, the natural next step is to book a demo. So again, that's just giving you some value hot off the press. Then pretty much what that is again, you got the VSL there that's explaining exactly what that is. You're going for an email flow sign up, i.e. you're putting them onto your newsletter, you're reaching out to them, you're calling them, you're retargeting them, whatever, all in hopes of getting them onto that first demo to basically qualify them and then setting them on that second call. So that's pretty much an overview of the funnel. Pretty much what we're covering in the video is, again, the rest of the funnel, the exact metrics you're going to need to hit to get this to work, the mistakes we made initially, and a few winning split tests that you can implement. So again, the key elements that you're running through here are number one, the product selection. That's going to start you off right. The maths involved, the ad creative, the landing page, and how we get such good booked call rates from the purchasers. And again, just to start off before we dive in, the reason that I like these funnels is because it removes the stress of the ad spend and cash conversion cycles. As a marketer on these deals, a lot of times, if you're running a book a call funnel, you might launch the ads, you might get a decent cost per call, but due to sales cycles, you're not going to know the ROAS or how much cash you're going to collect for 2 or 3 weeks sometimes before you can actually get a result. So with these low ticket funnels, the benefit is that you're essentially funding your own ad spend as you're going, recouping cash, so you're kind of in the clear straight away. You're not burning money literally on day one, so it's much more like e-commerce in that sense, but then you can make all your money on the back end and there's a little bit less pressure in terms of getting that cash back. So again, once you get a 1x ROAS on the first purchase, you're pretty much getting leads for free, which is obviously what everyone likes to say about their low ticket funnels. But a lot of the time, and this is the thing that we can talk about, is you're going to get a 0.8x, you're going to get a 0.6x on that first purchase. And you have to be able to know, is that going to be okay? Like, are we going to be able to tolerate this? Because even in that case, you are getting those leads for very cheap. Like even if you liquidate half of your ad spend on the front end, that still greatly reduces the pressure on that sales team to be able to force that deal over the line just so you can get some of your ad spend back. And again, the leads are buyers, so they're more committed to solving the problem than a regular lead magnet downloader or than a regular lead. These are purchasers. So first things first, product selection is going to be the most underrated thing when we're talking about overall ROAS. The idea behind the product, it pretty much decides who is going to be attracted to it, meaning you're only going to attract low quality leads if you choose the wrong product. I'll give you an example myself. I launched the 99 ad templates that you'll see in the description to cold traffic. What I ended up finding was that only attracted people that probably hadn't launched ads before. So if I'm trying to sell a monthly recurring service, people that haven't launched ads before are typically going to have a lower budget. They're going to have a bad mindset around paid ads, and they're kind of not going to be the best people that you really want that are going to have huge budgets to allocate to paid ads. So that's what I would call the wrong product. That is a mistake that I have directly made. And that means that when I'm trying to reach out to the leads, or when our team is trying to reach out to the leads, they get on the phone with them and they don't want to buy an expensive upsell, which is very, very bad. And it means we're going to make no money. So pick your product right, because it's not only going to determine the front end ROAS, but in terms of like how interested are people in this actual product, but it's also going to determine the type of people you get in, and that is going to determine how often these people upsell into your high ticket product. Again, if your product is just a course, that is going to drastically impact the time to upsell as well, because a lot of them will come in and potentially want to go through whatever your course you're selling on the low ticket before upselling to the high ticket. So again, it's just all these things you need to keep in mind when you are picking a product. And in the case of the client here, one of the products has a ROAS of like a 5 to 6x, as you saw in that initial screenshot, while the other one hovers around 2 to 3x, while the ads, the landing page, everything's pretty much the same. The ROAS is different because of the interest in the initial product, as well as the type of people it attracts, as well as what the actual product is, as well as the type of people that it's attracting. So all this stuff matters, and all this stuff should be going into your decision when you initially take that pick. In terms of a quick criteria, before you launch, number one, it needs to make them money or save them time with something they're already doing. So it's not like, sometimes you can sell them an opportunity. Like if you're selling some sort of biz op, then it can work. But typically, what I like to appeal to is people that are already pretty interested in my thing. So for example, if my thing is, some sort of content creation biz op, or some sort of, even a fitness thing, you want to appeal to the people that are in market first. That is just typically going to lend towards people that are already looking to solve the problem. As you scale and as you push harder, you may need to start appealing to people that maybe they're not already doing the thing that you're talking about. But that is going to be harder to convert. They're going to have less money. They're going to have less budget. They're going to be less aware. And in general, that is going to mean less money. So don't start there. Start with people that are already doing something that you can make the money with, or that you can do faster. That is just a general rule of thumb. That is not going to apply to everyone though. So just keep that in mind. Take that with a grain of salt. Typically, you're going to want it to be under $100 because it's going to be an impulse purchase. That's really important. It needs to be a complete solution to a narrow problem. Do not select something that is unspecific. The reason that this is because if someone is going to purchase something from you on cold traffic, the best stuff is quick, fast, and easy. If you have something that like, let's say, for example, you sell agency coaching. If you sell something that's cheap on the front end, that is just a complete stack of all this random shit you need to run an agency, you're giving them sales, you're giving them marketing, you're giving them fulfillment, whatever. That's all fine and dandy, but people do not respond to unspecific things or non-specific things on cold traffic. The thing they respond to is when they have a really big problem and they're aware of it and they're hurting from it and they're like, boom, that can solve my problem. From experience, those types of products work so much better. Those types of offers work so much better when you're appealing to a really specific problem in general. And in this case, when we're talking about low ticket funnels, we want it to be a narrow problem because obviously we want to upsell them on the back end. It is no point if you solve their whole broad problem with this low ticket thing. You want to solve something that's really hyper specific. So an example of that is any sort of template, any sort of checklist, any sort of narrowly pointed thing. Like I'm trying to think of an example that's not going to dox the client. But yeah, you kind of get the point. You want to just list out, if you list out every single problem that your prospects have, and then you think, what's a narrow thing? Like landing page templates is always a good one. Email design templates is always a good one. Stuff like that, where it's just going to be a really, really snappy thing. It's not like they have to go through a massive course or spend any time. There's no real investment from them. It's just, this is going to be an obvious thing that's going to give me value. That is the type of thing that you want. No-brainer ROI is the next one. This is really obvious. When you're talking to cold traffic, in order to get them to say yes to a stranger, it has to be an offer that is so obviously outsized value that the risk is worth it, because the risk is doing business with you and you are a stranger who they don't know, they don't trust, they don't know your background, they haven't spoken to you before, etc. In order to gain their trust, you have to give them something that's so damn good that it's worth taking the risk. And obviously that can be something that's either 100 times the value, 10 times the value, it doesn't matter. Just don't try and capture a ton of value. Like, you might give something away that you literally know can make them $1,000, and all it is you're charging $97. That's good. You don't want to capture value here. All you want to do is get a 1x ROAS so you can upsell them after. Keep your mindset of like, when I'm going to capture value on the upsell rather than on the first purchase. I think there's a good saying somewhere. You might make money on the front. You might like get rich on the front end, get wealthy on the back end, or something like that. I think that's the saying. You will make all your money on the back end. Do not worry too much about the front end and charging too much on the front end. Next, you want to create it once and then sell and deliver 1,000 times. If there's any sort of manual input into this product, it is wrong. Make sure it's something that can be delivered 1,000 times. Again, checklist, templates. A course can work, but you want to keep it pretty short and sharp. And then anyone in the market can use it and get value. The reason that I like doing it this way, where anyone in the market can use it and get value, is because when you optimize around a singular problem, like for example, let's say you're selling landing page templates, the problem that you're solving is conversion rate. That can be sold to a beginner, that can be sold to someone who's intermediate, that can be sold to someone who's higher in the market. And the reason for that is because that is going to allow you to scale in terms of your ads. Like, if you want to spend $70K a month on a paid ad funnel for a low ticket product and all it's targeted at is this really hyper specific niche at the top of the market, like maybe you only work with clients that make $100K a month or more or something. If your low ticket product can only be sold to those people and those are the only people that can get value from it, you're going to be screwed, and you're going to be better off just doing a book a call funnel if you only want to talk to those people. However, if you can get something that has the appeal to the upper end of the market, but can also be used and had value extracted from by the lower end of the market, that's going to give you way more scale, just so you can advertise so much harder. And sometimes when I say that, people come back to me and offer the idea that, oh, well, I don't want to talk to the low end of the market anyway. And that's great. Neither do I. I don't want to talk to the low end of the market. I don't want to hear from beginners. As much as I love you guys who are beginners, you can't work with me, so it's kind of a waste of time for me to advertise to you on paper. But the benefit of that is that they are paying you money, which is therefore allowing you to advertise more. So the more that you advertise in general, the more impressions you get, the more people who know who you are. For $0, that is a tick in my book, because those people will refer you deals, they watch your YouTube videos, they go on your email list, they talk about you in group chats, and all of that is just more money in your pocket, and you're spending $0 to attain those views because you are running a low ticket funnel. So just keep that in mind. In this case, advertising to anyone is good because it's not costing you anything. It's like you're just paying for views essentially. So that's what you want to keep in mind. And then finally, obviously you want to make it naturally lead to the upsell. This is really underrated, again, because what some people do is they might try and just pack all this value into the product, and they might try and make something that's so just insanely, quote unquote, valuable and in-depth that it prevents their ability to naturally ascend towards whatever your high ticket is. Can't stress enough, don't do that. You want to go for something that's just really potent and fast. And then that is naturally going to lead to the next problem, which is, hey, if you already solved this problem, you're already going to basically create all these other problems by doing this. I know that. You need to now buy my high ticket thing. So that's really important. Next up, we have the maths. This is by far the most underrated thing when it comes to anything paid advertising. A lot of people just ignore the fact that at each step of the funnel, there is going to be a breakdown or some sort of key KPI that you need to optimize around. So let's say your product is going to be $97. If you want to get a 1x ROAS, or let's say your target cost per acquisition is going to be $97, you're going to need to get a $4.85 cost per click, and you're going to need your landing page to convert at 5%. Now, that isn't going to be the rule of thumb all the time, because you might have a landing page that converts at 2%, and you might need a cost per click that's a little bit lower. That might be a $2 cost per click. Because the maths that you need to run is, if 100 people click, that's going to cost us, let's say we maintain the $4.85 cost per click. If 100 people click, that's $485 in ad spend. At a 5% conversion rate on the page, that means from 100 clicks, 5 people end up purchasing, $97 each. That's $485 in revenue, resulting in a 1x ROAS. So all of a sudden, if we know, okay, this is the exact cost per click I need, this is the exact landing page conversion rate I need, I'm good to go. That's going to get me a 1x. Boom, boom, boom. We know exactly what's going wrong. So once we launch and all of a sudden this number is $7 and we're below a 1x ROAS, it's very easy to say, okay, well, my ads suck. I need to fix my ads. And you know exactly what you need to do at each stage of the funnel. So this is like before anything else, get my target CPA, get my target cost per click, and get my target conversion rate for my landing page. And now you can know exactly what you need to do and exactly how good your ads are going to need to be. So for example, ad creative, let's say we need to get a $4.85 cost per click. We're going to launch with 5 to 10 initial creatives. We're probably going to make about 10 creatives per week. Once we find a winner, we're going to create iterations so we can scale further, which means making new hooks, new avatar, new actors, new edits, etc. Basically what I'm talking about here is when you have an ad, you have a winning ad, what ends up happening is you're going to scale that ad and eventually it's going to die. That sucks because we had a really good ad, and it really is painful when your winning ad starts to fatigue. But what ends up happening is you can scale that ad further than what you would be able to otherwise if you test the exact same ad with a new hook. You might run the exact same ad with a new actor. You might run the exact same ad with a new edit. Those are the 3 easiest things you can do. Doesn't really take that much effort. You're not really doing any additional work apart from getting a new actor, getting a new hook, whatever it may be. But if you do that, it's literally the simplest thing ever. Just make 10 creatives a week. When you have a winner, make a couple of iterations using new hooks, new avatars, new edits. You are going to be just fine. You are going to be just fine. And then it just becomes a logistical game or a project management game of getting new ad creatives out and getting your editors. But that's really doable and it's not that hard. One thing you want to keep in mind here though, obviously you're looking at the numbers on the front end in terms of cost per click, conversion rate, all that stuff. That's really important. But you need to use Hyros to figure out the overall ROAS from specific ads, not just the cost per purchase. Because one ad I have in mind, we have one ad that had a really low cost per purchase on the front end. So the front end cost to acquire a customer was low, but it had a worse ascension rate and an overall worse ROAS. So you might look at that and say, oh, but my front end CAC was really good. It's a good ad, whatever. That does not matter. We're optimizing around making money at the end of the day. So optimize around your total ROAS, not just the front end ROAS. It's really easy to get stuck in that trap. But really, like one ad, and I'll explain this, one ad might just be really good at attracting the low end of the market for a very cheap cost, which means it's going to have a low cost per purchase on the front end, but it's going to be attracting the wrong people for your high ticket. That does not make it a good ad. That makes it an okay ad. Like you can keep it on if it's going to be a positive ROAS. But at the end of the day, we're optimizing around the bigger picture, which is attracting the right people to our high ticket offer. So just keep that in mind. There's a few variables there. In terms of coming up with ad ideas, to me, the easiest way to come up with ad angles is to think of your current clients and customers, i.e. questions like, what was their situation before working with you? What were their problems and frustrations? What result were they looking for? What things were they focused on that weren't working for them? What were their beliefs about their problems? What were their core objections about the thing? What is going on right now that makes this thing more relevant than usual? One of the classic things is like, if ad costs are going up, your content offer gets more relevancy. If AI is taking jobs, then this new business opportunity might have more relevancy. And all of a sudden, if you answer these questions, if you literally sit down and just answer these questions, you are going to have unlimited ad ideas. And then what you can do is you can plug in that copy into pre-tested templates. So again, I did test these templates on cold traffic and no one wanted them. So you can get them in the description if you want. I've already made them. I've already gone through the effort. It's a pretty good product because this is an example here. It's basically just a winning script that someone else has found. I've taken that transcript and turned it into a plug and play thing. So you can take this and then basically just plug in your offer and it works pretty well. And that can give you your easy start in coming up with a bunch of ad ideas. Again, launch with those, test, iterate, and you will find winners if you are a sharp cookie, which I'm sure you are if you're watching this channel. It's not exactly like we're at Mr. Beast levels just yet. So I'm sure if you're watching this video, you're a pretty sharp cookie. Next up is the landing page. So we need to get a 5% conversion rate. That's pretty high. A lot of times you're probably going to have an easier time getting a lower cost per click than $4.85, just so you can tolerate a bit of a lower conversion rate, because this is pretty high. This is another one. If you're sharp, all you need to do is get a winning digital product sales page and then get their landing page rebuilt in your ClickFunnels account, in your Webflow account, whatever. So you're stealing the structure, you're changing all the copy, you're changing all the images and assets, and you're just launching with that and optimizing from there. So for example, if you always see one company's ads, their landing page is probably going to be pretty good. So all you need to do is get that rebuilt in terms of structure. A lot of times it's going to be headline, subheadline, VSL, proof, process and philosophy, case studies, video testimonials, and how to get started. It's really, really basic. The copy, all that stuff, that can just be done by you quickly. What I would recommend is don't go out and pay like 10 grand for a landing page or something before you've gotten any proof of concept. Literally just get an MVP landing page, get it spun up. You shouldn't be spending more than like 3 to 5K to get this whole thing set up. From the ads to the landing page, etc. All that stuff needs to be set up for, there's a balance between getting it done quickly and cheaply and getting it done well. And you want to just kind of tread that line. Get it done quickly, get it done as efficiently as possible is what I would say, because you don't want to be investing too crazy to start. Just get it done. Like, this is really a pretty easy task to undertake. And if you do struggle too much with this, we do have done for you ad setups and stuff available. But if you're sharp, again, get something done, MVP, get it launched quickly, and then you can start testing it and optimizing from there. Because really, the game here is scaling. Like, if you're going to go out and spend like $100 a day or something like that, and you're just kind of starting out, you don't need to be investing in anything crazy. Get it launched, get it scaling, get it working. Then once you're scaling, you can start doing all this crazy CRO stuff later. But really, to start, the 10 most important things: CTA is above the fold, particularly on mobile. What that means is they can land on the page and click a button to buy within 0.1 of a second. Because if that is not the case, your conversion rate is going to be lower. You want your headline to be congruent with the ad headline. What that does is it just makes sure that they land on the page and then they actually know what the fuck is going on immediately. That is going to be super helpful. Then your social proof throughout the page, i.e. join 10,000 users. You have a bunch of case studies. You have a bunch of video testimonials, etc. That's a really easy one. You want to have digital product images that emphasize how much is included, making it a no-brainer. This is something that I messed up personally, is I had a bunch of digital product images, but they were kind of half-baked, meaning there were just a couple of little, pictures of what's involved. You want to make it seem like there is a ridiculous amount of stuff. You don't want to necessarily have a massive, quote, value stack, because that's not FTC compliant. But if you have every single feature that is included in your digital product and you have that in some sort of mock-up, you might know the ones where there's like a bunch of laptops and iPads that have the product on the screen. There is a reason that everyone does that, and it's because it makes it seem like there is a ton of shit included in your digital product. So just get that done. It's really easy. You can make those in Canva or get someone to do it off Upwork. Really, really effective, because it makes it overwhelming how much value there is. Then you want to make sure the design is mobile optimized, so there's no formatting mistakes, there's nothing stupid there. That's just a checklist thing. You want to make sure your messaging targets only one problem and not to overload with a bunch of stuff that could be applicable to anyone. So again, it's a fine line between overwhelming them with value and then coming back to the point of just making sure it's really specific. So you want to always make it really targeted, really simple. The thing that people mess up with cold traffic a lot is they assume cold traffic individuals have a lot more attention span and IQ than what they do in actuality. In actuality, people that are on cold traffic are in the middle of literally rotting their brain on Instagram Reels or YouTube Shorts or whatever it is. They are not in the state of mind to make to make big decisions or anything like that. The cognitive load has to be really low. Just really simple stuff that's just, this is exactly what you're getting. This is exactly what's included. This is the exact problem we solved. This is exactly how many people we've done it for. All that type of stuff. Literally just appeal to their monkey brain as much as possible. Don't confuse them. That's a really important one. I mess that up a lot myself, which is why I always laugh about it. Next, you want to make sure you clearly show a breakdown of how and why the product works and everything in it. So not everyone is going to watch the VSL. Again, we're talking monkey brain, we're talking low cognitive load. This stuff is really, really important. Just have a really clear, literally just say module 1, module 2, module 3, module 4, some sort of breakdown of what is in it at a bare bones level. People are just going to scroll through quickly to see if anything is relevant for them and if they want to buy it. A lot of times they won't spend that much time on this page. So you want to basically just give them all the information for them to do due diligence on a purchasing decision really, really quickly. So again, that's why those visuals make sense, why those digital product images are really helpful. Just again, make sure it's able to be digested in seconds, because that's kind of how quickly the purchasing decision will be made. On that note, you want to include price at the very, very top of the page. Like it is an impulse buy and you want to basically assist that impulse buy. You basically want to provide the information for them to just click yes as soon as humanly possible. And that is something that's going to have a massive impact on your conversion rate. From there, the more case studies, testimonials, etc., the better. You want to create somewhat of a never-ending scroll effect, just so it's really abundant how good it is. And it's interesting. I don't think you fully understand how important that social proof is until you actually weigh up purchasing one of these things. Like, try and get your Facebook algorithm to start sending you these low ticket products by always engaging with them so you can see the winning landing pages, how they're structured and stuff. When you are genuinely tossing up, should I buy this stupid $47 thing that might help me a little bit and I might open it once maybe? That's literally what goes through your head. Going through that never-ending scroll and seeing what people are saying about it, it just constantly sells you more and more, and your interest bar goes up and up and up. So that is the effect of that. Again, it sounds dumb until you're literally tossing up purchasing one of these things and you start reading the testimonials and the case studies, and someone's like, there might be a case study that says, yeah, I thought this was just going to be a little dipshit $47 product, and then I bought it and I went through it and it was actually really good. Like, you read a testimonial like that, the chance of you buying literally goes up by about 10x. So if there's something that you can do on your landing page that might impact someone by 10 times to make them 10 times more likely to purchase your thing, it's very, very important that you have those on your page. And again, it sounds like I'm stressing it stupidly, but it is really, really a drastic impact. Next, you want to include heavy FAQs section. This is just going to be every single objection you might have in mind. Just use ChatGPT to list out every single objection they might have, and then just answer them. That's really easy. In terms of testing the landing page and what you're going to want to include, headline, VSL, complete new designs, subheadlines, and price points are going to be your 5 highest leverage areas of testing. I think Hormozy had it where he had a $27 product and they tested bumping it up to $97. And their front end cost to acquire a customer stayed the exact same, but their upsell rate went up dramatically. So that's a good example of a high leverage test. You might sell it for $27 and get a $40 cost to acquire a customer, but they don't upsell that much. Then you might test it at $97. Your cost to acquire a customer might be $60 or whatever it may be, but they might upsell at a much higher rate because the higher, basically the higher commitment of that higher price attracts a better customer. It attracts a more problem qualified customer, and that leads them to upsell more. So all this stuff is stuff that you can look at over time. Then once you get to the post-purchase, this is where you're going to make all your money. So remember, when you're allocating your focus and your resources, if all the money is made on the back end, tons of attention should be allocated to the back end because, again, that's where you're going to make all your money. So the things that are going to determine your ability to upsell are, number one, the product itself, i.e. how natural is the ascension? Did your sales team reach out within 5 minutes? Did your sales team follow up like crazy? Did you have email flows going out? Did you have text flows going out? Is your thank you page optimized for booking calls? Do you have retargeting ads? Is there an upsell process within the product itself? Meaning, when they're going through the product, do you integrate an ability to upsell? Do you integrate some way that they can book a call while they're actually going through the product? Do you have a school group? Is there some way you can contact them? Is there some way you can maintain contact with them? All that stuff is going to impact your ability to upsell. And then how good is your core offer is another massive one. How good is the VSL on the confirmation page? And is there a reason for them to book a call after purchasing the low ticket offer? So again, I alluded to this before, but what's going to happen is what you want to say is, hey, you just bought this thing that is going to completely and utterly solve this narrow problem. However, if you have this narrow problem, it is likely that you have problems X, Y, and Z. The only way that you're going to solve that is by naturally progressing to the next step. It's a free strategy call. It's a webinar. It's a sales call, whatever. It's your offer directly. The positioning is you are doing this thing, meaning you are also going to be dealing with these other problems, and the only way to solve that is with our offer. That's basically what I mean by, is there a reason for them to book a call? Are you talking about the natural problems that they're going to experience once they are doing that thing? So once you have that, basically all you need to do is get it to work. What I view this as is pretty much a constraint solving process where each stage has a number that can constrain the campaign. The key is to identify the single biggest constraint at that time, whether it's cost per click, conversion rate, booking rate, show rate, close rate, whatever, and take action on that. So again, if your average order value is $100, you need a $2 or less cost per click and a 2% conversion rate, because 1 in every 50 page visitors will buy, and it costs you $2 per page visitors. Basically, what that means is you can look at your campaign and say, oh shit, my cost per click is $5. I'm never going to get this to work unless I can make better ads. And then you focus all your energy on your ads, because that is the thing constraining your campaign. Let's say in this case, your conversion rate on your page is 3%. You do not want to waste any time fucking around with your pages, because not the constraint. Focus on the cost per click. In terms of that, the potential bottlenecks are going to be your cost per click too high, your conversion rate too low on the page, your purchase to booking rate is too low, your show rate is too low, and your close rate is too low, or your sales cycle might be too long. Basically, what you want to do is, and this is one of my favorite things to do, is just get a list of things that you can do when these things occur. So if your cost per click is too high, it's going to be making you ads. Conversion rate is too low, it's going to be taking actions on conversion rate optimization. If your purchase to booking rate is too low, you need to focus on the rest of the funnel. If your show rate is too low, it's going to be a rest of the funnel thing, as well as your sales process. Close rate is obviously a sales process issue. Sales cycle is going to be the rest of the funnel. So you're not going to be focusing on the ads or the funnel or whatever. You're going to be focusing on your email flows, retargeting ads, all that type of stuff as well. And then if all these things are cooked, it might just be an offer problem, and you can look at that. The whole time though, your focus is always just, where do I allocate my resources such that are going to have the biggest possible impact? And then once you can focus on that game, you can figure out the actions you need to take. And generally, you can get a pretty good idea of what I need to do in order to create a result. It's never taking random actions. It's never just doing things for the sake of doing things. It's looking at the numbers and figuring out, okay, this thing directly is messed up, therefore I need to do this. And it really becomes like a monkey brain thing, where you can just look at the ad account. This is my problem. Okay, that's my problem. I need to do this. And I can spend some money, spend some time focusing on that. End of the day, here's what you do. Number 1, choose a product. Number 2, build a sales page. Number 3, create 5 ads. Number 4, create your 30-day email flow. Number 5, create an appointment setting flow. Number 6, set up automations that notify you and the sales team when purchases occur. Number 7, set up your ad account and tracking. Number 8, build your product fulfillment, which is optional, because I know a lot of people will try and sell a product before they actually build the product to basically see if it's going to work. Now, that's kind of ballsy. I don't mind doing that. I like doing that. But what you're going to need to keep in mind is, when people purchase, you just refund them and say, hey, this is in progress. We're running a test. And some of them might get pissed, but it is what it is. It's going to save you a lot of time. If you have a product that's really difficult to build, you can sell it first, see if it's going to work, and then build it after. Once you do that, then you launch, you get data. I do like to build the product most of the time. Maybe I'm just too much of a pussy to refund people, but that's just the way I do things. So yeah, then you want to launch and get data. Take high leverage action until it works, meaning you launch, you get data. Okay, cost per click is too high, make new ads. Okay, try again. And you run that cycle a few times until it works. You want to keep in mind here, if it's too hard, it might just be the wrong product, and you might just have to completely reset or choose another strategy. Most of the time, you can avoid making the wrong move by just making good decisions to start. But if you try, you run through a cycle of ads, you run through another cycle of ads, you rebuild your landing page, you run through another cycle of ads, you're burning money, it's likely you've just chosen the complete wrong strategy. So for example, if you're in a niche that just isn't going to respond to a low ticket funnel, it doesn't matter how good your ads are, it doesn't matter how good your funnel is, you are probably just wasting your time. But again, you can avoid that a lot of the time by just having data on what's working in your market and what's going to work for your niche. So yeah, hopefully this is helpful. This should basically make it so you can go out and launch a low ticket funnel right now in the next couple of days and get a result. If you want additional help, there's always my paid offers in the description. You can get those ad stuff. Either way, this is there for you. Hope you enjoyed, and I'll see you in the next video.